Hi, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Eric Hunting from Parts Unknown, a breakdown and review. It's been a while. We had some personal things going on, and we had to take a break, and we're trying to get back into it. So bear with us. It's been a little while. We're going to be breaking down a very special event. It was PvP's Sunday Night Takedown on March 10th, 2024. This was to support the Ludlow wrestling team, for the high school wrestling team. And this was an interesting night. There was a lot of firsts. There was a lot of specials. There was a lot going on. And we're going to start out with our supporting cast, I guess. We have had an announcer of Cameron Coe, as always, on top of his game. Dealt with some sound issues and came out like a pro, as always. We had two refs on the show. We had Ref Gina, and we had Miggy Stripes, who we absolutely love. And there was our camera guy, Louis Semity, and on sound we had John Roy, who, that show, if he wasn't there, the show wouldn't go off the way it does, I don't think. This was, we started out with one of the coaches for the Ludlow team, Coach Laura. She greeted us, and apparently Alex Seifert wasn't happy with the timing of when she got started, and he started his shenanigans, I guess. That would be a one way of putting it. He got in the ring and started giving her what for, and she showed him that she knew a few things about tossing people around, and gave him a good old throw over the shoulder, and that's how we started the night. So that brought us to our first match, which was a championship match for the women's championship.
Which kind of surprised me.
Yeah, but to get it in through where we had all the matches all over the night, I think it was the best place to start.
If you're not last,
might as well.
First.
And
yeah.
we started off big. I mean, the challenger for the championship was Big Juicy, who we absolutely love.
Yes.
And the champion was Evie Del Rosa, who was not happy with the looks of the old championship, so she had it in the bag and did not want it displayed in any way. She said it was an embarrassment to her, and so she didn't want it displayed, and would not allow Gina to take it out of the bag to display the title.
Gina was
very confused. And man, when this match got going, Juicy started off hot, and she showed that she had some new moves up her sleeves. She's been working on some kicks in her forte, I guess, and she's been putting in the work, and she always has been. And and Evie Del Rosa was, well, Evie. I mean, she's like I've always said, she's a badass, and she's as tough as they come. And Juicy had to put up a big fight.
She did.
And
but she held her own.
She certainly held her own. And,
more than held her own.
She ended coming out with the W. She got the championship, and come to find out, there was a brand new championship displayed, and it's a nice looking title now, and it's one that doesn't need to be in a bag anymore.
No.
It was
although it was a nice bag.
Yeah, it was. Evie was not happy with the fact that Gina would not count the pin in Spanish for her.
Which to be fair, she was a champion.
I guess you can make those kind of demands. It didn't work, but she made the demand anyways.
I think no matter in which language she was counted out in, she would have been counted out.
Yeah. She wasn't winning. It wasn't going to happen.
No.
Big Juicy came out, and so our new PvP women's champion is Big Juicy.
Yay!
Which we absolutely love. That brought us to the 6-man tag of Pedro Donas, Antonio Zambrano, and Tony Booz of the Family versus Dustin Waller and Jalen Brandon of Waves and Curls, and Dustin Waller of the Miracle Generation, and Jermaine Marbury, who is new to PvP. We've gotten to see on Wrestling Open a few times, and he had his mascot, Benny the Ball. It was basketball versus soccer, essentially.
It was interesting.
It was, yeah. It was a match of
a blink and you miss it.
Yeah, there was a lot going on. You didn't know where to look. The Waves and Curls confetti cannon got blasted off in I think Pedro Donas' face.
Yes, I believe so. Yes.
So there was confetti everywhere, and
boom, confetti.
It was an interesting match. It was good to get to see this. To see Marbury in person. He's quite athletic. He's all over the place. He's one of these jumping, jiving guys. He's all over the place, and it was a lot of fun. It was definitely a fun match.
Yeah.
It was.
I mean, a red card was pulled.
Yeah,
at one point.
Miggy pulled a red card on one of the guys. I think on Zambrano.
Was it on? I thought it was on.
It could have been Pedro. Pedro was up to his usual shenanigans.
Yeah.
He was flirting with the girls in the audience, and as he always does.
The camera lady seemed to be really appreciative of that.
Funny, but to the family's dismay, Marbury got the win. On that, and the crowd was very responsive to that. It was a good little party after the win, and then the mood kind of went south. The head of the family, the head of the union for PvP, and also his cohort. We had Chris Benet, the Tracksuit Brute, Godfather of Chokeslam. Chris Benet came out for his match versus Scotty Wild.
This was a hard one.
This was a hard one. Here at Parts Unknown, we appreciate and like Chris Benet.
I love Chris. I'm sorry.
We do. We love Chris, even though we're not supposed to. But Alex Cypher, not so much. But in this match, boy, did he take he took a little bit of a beating and banging.
He took some nasty bumps.
He ended up on the floor a few times in this match.
Bless. He ended up in my lap once.
Matthew James came out with Scotty Wild. Matthew James wearing a very festive St. Patrick's Day suit. It was an interesting suit, to say the least.
Aaron Gobra.
And boy, did he. But like I say, this match was in the ring, out of the ring. Chris was not happy with the reffing a couple of times.
It was such a serious match, and there was confetti.
Yeah, so it's hard to take
everywhere.
everybody serious.
Seriously, because they were covered in stars and different colored stripes, and it just made me. I it was a sight to behold.
Yeah. So Scotty Wilde ended up getting the win because of a disqualification. All hell had broken loose, and R.J. Rude came out to save Scotty Wilde.
Right.
He had a chair in hand, and then the union and the family, they kind of dispersed when the weapons came out. So it was, man. I I like to see Chris go, and this had the this on paper this match would have been really really good, and it was good, but there was so much shenanigans. I would have liked to have seen a straight up clean match between the two of them, without any outside interference or anything. But you're not going to get that. You're not going to get that. Not with Alex Cipher and Matthew James, and then the family, and it's just not going to happen.
I mean, it basically, you could have a neon sign saying "Shenanigans Welcome." I mean,
so Scotty did get the win, but it was via the disqualification. That brings us up to a number one contenders match for the All Valley Championship, which is held by Fancy Ryan Clancy. And this was a fatal 5-way match. And this match was definitely you don't want to blink because you're gonna miss something. This match was on fire. There's Steven Stetson.
boo.
The infamous Ryan Frost.
Yes, we love Ryan.
Who we love.
And it was his
his
premiere.
PvP debut, which I was glad to see. I hope to see him come back some more. We had BRG, which we all know, not a fan. He's a bum. He's a bum. He's a bum. He's a bum.
Yeah.
And then we had Top 5, Dead or Alive, Sammy Diaz. And then we also had another debut for PvP, and that was Ichiban. Number 1. Which...
Really?
Yep, that was his PvP debut.
Huh.
Yeah, him and Ryan.
Bless.
And, man, did this match... Well, it started out, BRG thought he was going to be king shit and tell everybody in the ring that he was better than them, and he was giving them each a shove. He got turned around and he went to do the same thing to Ryan Frost, and well, he kind of thought better of it and ended up getting a chop for his worries. And
Good. Couldn't happen to a better fellow.
I think Ryan caved his chest in a little bit.
His spine felt
there was some hard hitting with Ryan Frost and Steven Stetson. You had some the bigger of the guys in the ring, and there was some hard hits, and then you had some flying.
Ooh, that spot, yeah.
There was this one moment in the match with Sammy and Ichiban where they just had this back and forth, and it was up, down, over here, over there. And it didn't stop for like 30 seconds, and it was just... But
I loved that the
I could have watched it go. We just let it happen.
Collectively all held their breath just watching.
Yeah.
And was so excited.
And into it.
Yeah.
It was like, yes, this is wrestling. It was a great moment in that match. And I would love to see them go one-on-one, of course, with a fatal 5-way, things spilled out to the outside. At one point, we had Steven Stetson sitting a couple seats over.
And what an unpleasant individual he is.
He doesn't like people, and people don't like him. And then there was a moment where Steven Stetson had gotten knocked ass over tea kettle, and Ryan Frost took it upon himself to brand the cowboy with his handprint. He right on his thigh, and there's a man-sized handprint on Steven Stetson's thigh, and you could hear through that whole venue, and a lot of people took pleasure in that.
Couldn't have happened to a better person.
Oh, to a better guy, it couldn't happen. But with everything going on, and somehow this freaking guy, BRG, sneaks his way in, and
after everybody does all the hard
yeah,
work.
everybody else is doing the beating and banging, and he comes running in and steals, and I reiterate that he steals the win.
Ugh. Ugh.
So now that sets up, I believe, for April, for the All Valley Championship trophy.
Well, it hasn't been announced yet.
It hasn't been announced, but I know that he did win #1 contendership for the All Valley Championship. So it will end up being, as long as Ryan Clancy is still the champion, it'll end up being BRG versus Fancy Ryan Clancy. He's a bum, not Ryan. But after this match, we all needed a breather because it took the breath out of the room. It was an exciting match. So that brought us right to the intermission. People went and bought raffle tickets to help support the wrestling team.
There were goodies
there was a lot of baked goods. Well, I don't know about a lot, but there was plenty of brownies, that's for sure, because we picked up some brownies.
And they were yummy.
And they were good. We went around, looked at some merch, and picked up a nice shirt to support the Ludlow team. And after the intermission, we had a tag team match of a couple of veterans. One, Dr. Heresy, and ZPB made his return to PvP.
When he comes out, you always know it's going to be a fun match.
There's going to be some kind of fun going on. Versus two young and up-and-comers, Dragar and Brett Metro, and they were known as Night Train was their tag team name.
Was this their debut, or have they been there before?
No, this was their debut, and there's still doing some training. They're still young in the business, from what I understand. So they
and this is who they.
And so they went up against a couple of legends. They showed them how it was done. You want to talk about fun? Doc Heresy is, if anything, he has a good time in the ring, whether he's a good guy or a bad guy or whatever.
Dr. Evil.
he shows them what for. That's for sure. Somehow these two young guys, they definitely have some promise. I'd like to, hopefully get to see him again sometime. And they ended up sneaking out the win, to the dismay of ZPB and Doc Heresy. ZPB didn't seem too happy about it at all. He was like, "No, I'm not supposed to be losing here." But it was an interesting match, that's for sure.
It was fun.
It was fun. It was what it was supposed to be. That brings us to our PvP championship match, our co-main, if you will. Our challenger was the Dream Crusher, Danny Miles, who, man, this guy is just nothing but power, and he's aggressive. He don't pull any punches. And he was the challenger, and our champion was RJ Rude, the pop punk devil.
Oh, he's such a sweetheart.
I love RJ Rude, and our heart goes out to him and his Always Grounded brothers. There was a lot going on in this match. Like I said, Danny Miles doesn't pull any punches. He comes full force. He doesn't play around. He doesn't do any comedy. He just comes in and he wants to beat you up, and he wanted that championship. And
and a couple of times I thought he was going to get
I
it.
thought we were going to have a new champ. I really did.
And he worked hard for it. I mean,
Yeah.
if he had taken it, I wouldn't have been happy, but I would have understood, because he is an incredible wrestler.
Yeah, he is. He's something. He's been doing this for a long time, and there was a moment where Gina got knocked down and taken out. She got squashed in the corner, and so she was out of commission for a little bit. And while RJ was trying to get up, Danny Miles noticed that the championship was in the corner. He was going to try and grab it and use it as a foreign object. But
Shenanigans.
then all of a sudden, to support RJ Rude, Scotty Wilde was behind him and
He
deferred
yoinked.
him. He yoinked the title out of his hands, and then everything went to holy hell.
I mean, it did right after. I mean, because then, because of the assist, if you will,
Yeah.
RJ Rude was able to retain.
Right.
But
then all hell broke loose. Chris and the family came, and Tony Booze came out and attacked both Scotty Wilde and RJ Rude. So,
and you have Alex Safer just bouncing around.
He was all over the place doing I don't know what. And then
losing his gavel at one point.
And so that happening set up that the tag team of Zambrano and Pedro Donez wanted to cash in their Sure Shot Tag Team Championship contract, and they did, and against RJ and Scotty Wilde, who were the tag team champions, as well as RJ being the heavyweight champion. Well, that happening, they called their shot. Well, I mean, Pedro Donez is the shot caller, and he called his shot. And
they sure did.
They took advantage of the situation.
It was a wham bam, thank you,
and
type of deal.
The family are now tag team champions. And as that tag team was the sure shot for the tag team champions, Scotty Wilde is also the sure shot holder for the heavyweight championship. And everybody thought that he was going to cash it in right then and there because RJ Rude was down and out. But he said, I'm not like these dirtbags. I'm not going to take advantage of this. I'm not going to call it behind your back. I'm going to tell you straight up to your face. In April, I'm cashing in, and it'll be you and I for the title, and because he wants his title back. I love Scotty Wilde, but I'm not ready for RJ Rude to not be champion.
Right.
I want to see RJ Rude continue on as champion for a while. I hope he pulls his bootstraps up, and because it's going to be a fight. It's going to be a heck of a match.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
Scotty Wilde is the ultimate professional.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't wait. I'm looking forward to that match. That should be really good. But I hope RJ retains. But they definitely set up April to be a heck of an event, that's for sure.
Well, I mean, it's PvP.
It's what they do.
It's what they do.
So, that brings us to the main event, which was special in a lot of ways. But we'll get to the cast of characters first here. On one side, we had AJ Cruz and the debuting for his very first professional match, Jay Tunis, the brother of Hammer Tunis, which for 2 years now has been in and out of the storylines of everything going on with Tunis and Bacon and AJ Cruz and anybody and everybody. Started out as a ref, he was a manager, he's been a punching bag, he's been a little bit of everything. He's finally got his gusto, and he had his first professional match.
I loved everything about this.
Yeah, this was great. And they were going up against the closers, the original closers, the real closers.
Boo.
Hammer Tunis and Big Bacon Brad Hollister.
Boo.
This I mean, you know, it's a story as old as time itself. I mean, it's brother versus brother. It's, you know, you have the jealous older brother, you got the pissed off younger brother, you have the father of favoritism in the background. And apparently mom wasn't too much quieter on her end either, right. From what I understand. You also had coming out with AJ, he had his son come out, Davian, who sweetheart of a kid.
Oh my God. That poor kid coming out in a sling.
He had his arm in a sling. I'm not going to put his business out there, but
but he's still all smiles.
Oh yeah, and this match was exactly what you would think it was going to be. You know, the closers are trying to take advantage of the young kid, you know, with his first match. But I tell you what, the training that he's getting is top notch, because he really held his own. He did stuff that, you know, that looked very professional. You know, he knew what he was doing. He didn't do anything far beyond his training. He did everything that was right, in my mind.
You know what I loved about this? Because this is what PvP does best. They create a storyline. This has been how many years in the making?
Right.
And you've seen it woven here and there. And it hasn't been in your face. You know what I mean? It hasn't been, oh, this is what we're doing. This is what we're doing. It's been...
Come along for the journey.
You've seen the subtle things along the way, and then it builds momentum.
Yeah.
And it just keeps going and building and getting stronger, yet not taking the forefront in a lot of ways. And then finally, you get the payoff. And this was a fantastic payoff.
It really was. But as they do, not only was it a payoff, but in the end, it also set up for the next chapter.
Yes,
you know, and that's
what
just
they
what
do.
It's just what
and
they do.
I love that. I love how the stories are told in PvP.
Yeah.
Things aren't done all willy-nilly.
Right.
There's a lot of thought put into this.
Yeah.
And that's where I look at wrestling as theater.
Yeah.
As it's storytelling with the added bonus of the action of people throwing each other around.
Right. It's physical.
But PvP does it in a way that you are invested. That when you miss a show,
you miss something.
Yes, and you're devastated.
Like we did. We missed the previous show, and we missed Jordan Rowe,
right,
and Hammer losing the tag team championships, right. And then Jordan Rowe getting kicked out of the closers,
right?
Because they don't want losers in the closers.
I'm gonna leave that alone.
Well, that kind of brings us to the end of the match, where I mean, this match is. There wasn't a whole lot of shenanigans. There wasn't a whole lot of there was no outside interference. There was. No. It was. I mean,
and there was wrestling.
Yeah, well, you knew You
coaches,
had two coaches for the Ludlow team wrestling in front of their teams, which, you know, the whole reason we were there. But it was and Bacon is a top-notch wrestler himself, you know, on the amateur, you know, ranks, and professionally as well. But so it was some really good wrestling. It was well done, but there wasn't any outside interference. There wasn't a lot of shenanigans. There was no foreign objects or anything like that. It was a pretty clean match.
I mean, and for the most part, it stayed in the ring.
In the ring, yep.
There was a few moments of outside, but 99% of it was in the ring.
Right.
And I really enjoyed that.
Yep.
Because, yeah, there's a time and a place for a whole lot of, you know, things going on.
You kind of expect it when it comes to the closers. You expect the outside stuff. You expect the shenanigans. You expect... You didn't get that this time. This time it was all about the match. And it was
personal.
It
was so personal, and you could feel it. And then, you know, and there was the tease, when are the brothers going to...
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. And there was the face-off, and then there was... Hammer takes the powder, and, you know...
Yeah, typical, you know, mind games of Hammer Tunis.
Yep.
Because there is nobody in the business who plays mind games like Hammer Tunis.
I got to tell you, there was a moment... I think you said it to me, but I was thinking it myself, where I kind of had an uh-oh feeling. And it's not on Jason, but I had a feeling, and thankfully I was wrong, but I had a feeling that there was a swerve afoot.
But you weren't sure from where it was coming.
But I just had this feeling, and I just kept watching and kept, you know, of course you're watching the match, but I kept waiting and waiting, and it didn't happen. Thank God it didn't happen. Yeah, but I just had this feeling that...
that uh-oh feeling.
Yeah, and thankfully it didn't happen, and, you know, AJ Cruz ended up getting the pin, and so AJ and Jay won, so... Technically, Jay won his very first match. That being said, like I said about the previous event, they don't like to lose, the closers. And Bacon was not happy with Hammer in the fact that they lost. So he walked off away from Hammer.
He took his ball and
I think
went
in,
home.
7 years, I don't think we've ever seen them walk away from each other like that.
No.
Not like that. That was out of character. And
I mean, is this the end of the closers?
We don't know. I guess that's more to come and stories to tell, I guess. So, but Hammer got up, and then in his words, in amateur style, he got up and he shook AJ's hand for getting the win. You know, sportsmanship, which I was again holding my breath, waiting for the hammer to drop, as you would. He shook Davian's hand as well, and then he came to his brother, and he said, "I'm not going to shake your hand because of the win. I want to shake your hand as a way to solidify a match for April, 1-on-1, Hammer versus Jason." Tunis versus Tunis. That's gonna be something. I think the crowd is gonna be becoming even more unglued when it's 1-on-1 and there's no one else to focus on. That proves to be an interesting matchup. It really does. So that was one hell of an event. It kind of went through on the review quicker than usual, but the action just never stopped. It was go go go, so it was easy to kind of go through all this.
What's going on, guys? King of Chaos, Logan Black here. I'm trying to direct everybody. Everyone's got a smartphone. Everyone's got computers. and you're watching nonsense, you're watching trash, you're literally just staring in, and it's hypnotizing you. So what should you do? You should check out Eric Hunting from Parts Unknown. It's my friend, close personal friend. My man goes to just about everything in Western Massachusetts. A true fan of professional wrestling. He's going to go there. He's going to give his thoughts on shows. He's going to tell you what he enjoyed, what he didn't enjoy. And also, dude's got a wicked collection. So if you like that type of content, even if you don't, go right ahead. Smash the like button. Smash the subscribe button. Go right in. Show the dude some love. And you know what? See if you can pick up one of these stickers because they're actually pretty dope.
So after all that kind of brings us up to our match of the evening.
I mean, it was great from beginning to end.
Yeah, it really was. All right.
I mean, that's PvP. That's PvP. It's what they do. I mean, how can you not give it to the main event? You have to. You have to. Because this was the payoff of 2+ years.
Right.
I mean, a case could be made for, it's a lifetime. They're brothers.
Right.
So, to me, this was, like you said, this was a payoff to end this chapter. But now we're watching the next chapter because there are so many stories yet to be told about what's going to happen to the closers.
Right.
Which, this just tickles me pink. And then there's, Jason Tunis.
Yeah.
Where does he go from here?
Yeah.
Does he continue to hold that fire? I think that he will. And then there's the rivalry. There's always a rivalry between Hammer and AJ.
Yeah.
And I love watching that.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Friends turn to rivals.
Right.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So to me, that has to be match of the night.
I agree with all of that. I really do.
I'm sensing a but.
Yes, and I think it's it's my 1A because my match of the night, for completely different reasons, is the 5-way number one contendership match. That match just blew me away. Everything that happened in that match was amazing, except for the win. But I was excited for the 2 debuts that came out of that match for Ryan Frost and for Ichiban. Especially, I hold a special place in my heart for Ryan Frost. I was a member of the Frost Force before there was a Frost Force to be forced.
Okay, that just did my head in.
But I was happy to see him be able to be brought in, and I hope he comes back more. Same for Ichiban is just amazing. And the things that
number one.
The things that Sammy and Ichiban did in that match was just unbelievable.
But we love Sammy Diaz.
And and Steven Stetson and BRG bring what they bring.
A lot of horse manure.
But I just found that match just to be. I was able to sit and just wow the whole match. If that match didn't happen, my match of the night would have been the main event. But to be a little bit, to pick a different pick than you. That's why I picked the 5-way. Again, I wish that somebody else had won, but beggars can't be choosers, I guess. That brings us to performer of the evening.
my performer of the evening is going to be different than what I usually do, and part of it may surprise you. My performer of the evening are the Tunis brothers, because of what I've said before.
Right.
I am a fan of storylines.
Good storytelling.
Good storytelling. I, as an absolutely voracious reader, stories give me life. So to see, I love the beauty of the storytelling in PvP. And in my brain is seared just the two of them, the Tunis brothers, coming together for the first time before they started.
Yeah.
And I loved that.
Yeah.
It was just...
You could feel that it was palpable. The tension in the room was just like... I mean, the crowd was... You could feel the nervous tension in the ring, in the arena.
It's like getting to the juiciest part of the book, and you just keep reading, and you can't wait for the next bit. And that's what I felt, and because just of the whole, it was Jason's first time, and just the payoff of everything. It was, and they played their parts to perfection.
Yeah.
And that's why they are my performers of the night.
You'd think where that was my match of the night, the evening, that I would pick somebody out of that match, but I have to give it. I'm somewhat in agreement with you, but not to totally trump to take what you did.
Right? Yeah.
Mine
you have
is
your own reasons.
Mine is Jay, just because it was his first match, and he did it. He did it perfectly. He really did. Everything about Sunday night was great for him. His entrance was all fired up. There was a little bit of a bobble, but that wasn't on him. You know, there was, but excitement just takes over. But he corrected it, which that's the sign of a professional, in my opinion. And he didn't let that overtake his the rest of the match or anything like that. So yeah, everything that he did in that match was everything he was supposed to do. It didn't come off as dialed in. He was excited. He was fired up. He got right in my face. It was awesome.
Great.
That match was everything it was supposed to be, and all the players did everything they were supposed to do, but it was about Jason's first match to me, and so I give performer of the evening to Jay. He deserves it. I'm not just doing it. He deserved it.
Oh, and, 100%.
And so yeah, I think that's the way that it goes. I do want to take a moment before the event. I had talked to the powers that be, and I had made a request of we had recently had a loss in the family. My mom had passed away on February 10th, and my mom was a big wrestling fan as well.
Yes, she was.
And I always wanted to take her to an indie show. We had been to previous shows when I was younger, and I always wanted to bring her, but she was never healthy enough to be able to go. And I made a request to some of the powers that be, and asked if there was any way that her ashes could make an entrance into the event. And Justin Tunis was nice enough to take her into the main event. And I can't thank him enough. I've tried, and I can't. I'll always be grateful. She would have loved it.
Yeah, she would.
It was a moment fitting for an uber wrestling fan. It was a tribute that I was able to show some family members already that they approved, which the moment was approved of beforehand. Everybody was on board, everybody that needed to be.
And it was lovely to witness.
It was hard to keep a dry eye. I don't know how to do that anymore. So again, everybody at PvP, I thank you for your kind words, your thoughts, your condolences, everything, the hugs,
the well wishes,
the love that everybody in the PvP family has shown to us and to my mom. She absolutely would have been tickled pink.
Yes, she would.
Coming out with a heel. Getting to be in the middle of that ring. She would have absolutely loved it. Thank you. Thank you, Justin. I appreciate it more than you'll ever know. Thank you to everybody who is a part of this YouTube channel, who takes the time to watch it. I'm trying to get back on track, putting out some content, and as soon as I can get my head in the right place to be able to do so. So thank you for your patience as well. I guess we'll close this down before I just ramble and ramble. This was PvP Sunday night takedown on March 10th. Eric Hunting with my sweetheart, Anissa, my tag team partner. Thank you for everything that you do with me through this journey. I appreciate you so much.
I kind of like you.
Sorry guys. So this has been Eric Hunting from Parts Unknown with Anissa, my tag team partner. We'll see you at the matches. Thank you.